The wind yanked my hair across my face as I stood on the Oculus Tower's rooftop, Philadelphia glittering out in front of me like a promise I'd chased for years. 6 o'clock. 2 hours to go until H hour, the moment everything I'd worked for would finally mean something. I ducked behind the thick glass windbreak shielding the VIP section and fussed over the peonies on the family head table one last time. White and blush pink, shipped in from Holland, each stem way pricier than most people's entire bouquet. The petals stayed flawless, thanks to the glass. No wind, no damage. Just how everything tonight had to be. My hand drifted to my purse, checking for the 2 envelopes inside. I felt their weight, my whole plan right there. For years of saving, planning, sacrificing. In one envelope, a retirement savings book for my parents. Enough for Mom to finally take that European river cruise she kept circling in travel magazines. Enough for Dad to buy that vintage Aston Martin DB5 he scrolled through every Sunday. In the other envelope, a scholarship voucher for Lydia, a full ride to the Palamota Institute in Florence. Not just anywhere. The place she'd dreamed about since she was 16, the place where all her heroes got their start. Tonight, Julian Thorne would announce my partnership in front of every big shot in Philadelphia's legal world. I wanted my family at that table. I wanted them to see what I'd become. More than that, I wanted to give them everything they'd ever dreamed of. Because if I could do that, if I could hand them their dream lives, maybe they'd finally be proud of me. Maybe they'd finally love me the way I've always needed. My phone buzzed. Once, then again. I grabbed it, expecting some update about traffic or parking. Nope. My stomach dropped. Bank alert. American Express supplementary card ending in 4782, $4,200 at the Gilded Mermaid. Approved. Before I could even process, another notification landed. Mom, we can't make it. Your sister is having a panic attack. She needs a quiet meditation space to heal. So sorry, sweetie. You understand. I stared at the screen. Read both messages. Then read them again. The Gilded Mermaid. I knew exactly what kind of place that was. Neon lighting, sticky floors, watered-down cocktails in plastic cups. House music so loud you could feel it in your bones. Smelled like coconut sunscreen and regret. A quiet meditation space? Please. It hit me hard. My brain, always on alert after years of legal work, started connecting the dots. Lydia needs quiet. Lydia needs to heal. Lydia's having a panic attack. But the charge went through at 5:51 p.m. 9 minutes ago. Which meant they'd already been at the club for hours. They knew they weren't coming. They waited until the money was spent to send the text, waited until I couldn't cancel or freeze the card. This wasn't a crisis. This was planned. The betrayal burned. Not because of the $4,200. I'd spent more bailing out Lydia's rent last month. No, it was the contempt. The way they'd rather blow my money at a trashy riverfront club than spend a few hours at the biggest moment of my life. They used my money to run away from me. Miss Vance? I turned. Felix, the restaurant manager, tiny, polite, endlessly patient, stood a few steps away. His face was calm, but I saw the pity in his eyes. He'd watched me rearrange the same table for an hour, fussing over every tiny thing. Should we clear the family table? He asked, gentle as ever. I looked at those empty seats. Prime spot, right next to where Julian Thorne would stand for the toasts. If he saw me sitting there alone, he'd make up his mind. A woman who'd made it, sure, but one who'd traded everything else to get there. No family, no foundation. Just work. I felt tears sting at the corners of my eyes. I blinked hard. No way I was crying here, not in front of Felix or the catering staff. Not where word could slip back to the firm that Maya Vance lost it because her family didn't show. My fists clenched at my sides, nails digging in. No, I said, trying to keep my voice steady even though my insides felt like jelly. Keep everything exactly as it is, the most luxurious setup you've got. Felix nodded, slow and careful. But take down the reserved for family sign, I added. He hesitated for a second, face shifting as he got it. Of course, Miss Vance. Right away. He walked off and I stared down at my phone. The bank alert still glared back at me, impossible to ignore. My hands shook as I opened the app and checked the details. The Gilded Mermaid, $4,200. Platinum Cabana Package, $1,800. Tsunami Alcohol Tower X12, $2,100. Private DJ Service Fee, $300. 12 alcohol towers. A private DJ. This wasn't self-care. It wasn't healing. It was a blowout. They were celebrating not being here. My sister wasn't having a panic attack. She was having a blast on my American Express, probably with her crew of unemployed influencer friends, posting every second on Instagram with some caption about Freedom Friday or choosing joy. Something shifted in me. The hurt iced over, turning hard and cold. I dropped my phone into my purse, right next to those 2 envelopes that suddenly weighed a ton. The view of the Comcast Center stretched out in front of me, gold in the late afternoon light. In 2 hours, this rooftop would be crawling with the most powerful people in Philadelphia's legal world. I'd be standing here alone, or maybe not. Maybe I'd be with people who actually wanted to be here. I pulled my phone out again and scrolled to Nana Simone. They did what? Her voice cracked through the phone, sharp as ever. I had to hold the phone away from my ear. Even at 75, my grandmother sounded like she could command a gym full of teenagers or send a lousy teacher packing. They're at the Gilded Mermaid? I said, still staring at the transaction. Mom texted that Lydia is having a panic attack and needs a quiet meditation space. Meditation space. Nana barked out a laugh. Your mother always liked things that looked like a gaudy bird, but this? Even for her, this is low. The Gilded Mermaid? That place is where 20-year-olds go to puke on each other. I couldn't help it. A smile tugged at my lips. You know it? Maya. I taught high school in the city for 40 years. I know every dump where my students tried to sneak in with fake IDs. She paused. Are you crying? No. Good. Don't you dare waste a tear on people who pick cheap booze over their daughter's big night. I'm getting dressed right now. I'll be there in 45 minutes. I'm wearing the St. John suit. The gray one. The one that makes me look like I could buy and sell half of Center City. You don't have to, Maya Estelle Vance. She hit me with my full name and I froze. Listen to me. You need someone with real class next to you tonight. Someone who knows success is something you show up for. Your mother gave birth to you, but I'm the one who taught you that excellence matters. I'll be there. She hung up before I could say anything. For a second, I just stood there, phone in hand, feeling something shift in my chest again. The hurt was sharp, still bitter as ever, but underneath it there was something else. Something that felt almost like relief. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't alone in seeing this for what it was. I opened Instagram, telling myself I was being ridiculous, overreacting. But I knew my sister. I knew exactly how this would go. She never missed a chance to document her whole life. It took me less than 30 seconds to find her story. There she was, 26 years old, holding 2 neon green cocktails, the kind that glow under black lights. The Gilded Mermaid looked exactly as horrible as I imagined. Plastic mermaids, tiki torches, a bunch of people squeezed into swimsuits that should have stayed in the store. The music was thumping so loud I could actually hear it through my phone. Lydia was shouting at the camera, "Escape the stiff lawyer, sister. Best Thursday night ever. Thanks for the credit card, sis." She blew a kiss, turned the camera to her friends. I counted 9 of them, all clutching those same cocktails, all laughing like they'd just won the lottery. The video was only 19 minutes old. 932 views already. I watched it twice, then a third time. With every replay, the hurt faded, replaced by something sharp and cold. Contempt. Pure, sparkling contempt. I stared at the wine glass in my hand, a 2017 Chateau Margaux that probably cost more than everything Lydia was wearing. Then I glanced back at my phone, watching my sister chug some neon liquid that looked about 90% food coloring. We weren't living in the same universe anymore. Maybe we never had. Class versus trash, and the line was getting starker every year. I forwarded the story to Chloe, my assistant, and called her up. "Chloe, where are you right now?" "In the lobby with Reynolds and the other juniors." "We're early, figured we'd grab drinks before heading up." "Why? What's wrong?" You sound, come up to the VIP level. Now. All of you. The VIP level? That's for partners and Chloe. Bring everyone. That's an order. She hesitated for just a second. On our way. I hung up and headed over to the family head table. Felix appeared almost instantly, his knack for sniffing out drama always impressive. Change of plans, I said. This table isn't for family anymore. I need place settings for 9. My associates will sit here. His eyebrows shot up. The head table? The head table, I repeated. And Felix? Make sure it looks even better than it does now. I want this to look intentional, not like a last-minute fix. A slow grin spread across his face. Understood, Miss Vance. We'll make it magnificent. He hurried off and I opened my phone again, straight to my banking app. For years of records. Every transfer to my parents. Every supplementary card charge. Every rent payment for Lydia's Fishtown apartment, the one she filled with thrift store furniture and ring lights for her lifestyle coaching gig, which had, 57 paying clients? Mostly mom's friends, signing up out of pity, $5,500 a month just for rent. That alone was over $260,000 in 4 years. Then throw in the $750 minimum for the card, which was usually higher. Quick transfers for emergencies, car repairs, doctor bills, investment opportunities that never turned into anything. I opened my calculator and started adding. 10 minutes later, I had my answer, $410,000. Over $400,000 in 4 years, and that didn't even count gifts, family dinners, or the plane tickets I'd bought when they claimed they missed me. I was single-handedly supporting 3 adults, and now they'd spent $4,200 of my money to throw a party celebrating not having to see me. The elevator dinged. Chloe stepped out first, followed by a nervous crowd of juniors. They all looked like they'd come straight from home, cocktail-ready, but not quite VIP-level polished. Maya? Chloe walked up slowly. What's going on? I looked at her. At Chloe, who'd been my right hand for 3 years, who stayed late when I did, who once physically blocked opposing counsel from ambushing me in a courthouse bathroom. Reynolds, the first year who'd pulled 4 all-nighters before the Carson trial. Davis. Brooks. Shaw. All young, all hungry, all betting their futures that sticking with me would teach them something worth knowing. They'd shown up early. They were here because they wanted to be. My family isn't coming, I said. So tonight, you're sitting at the head table with me. Silence. Then Chloe quietly, where are they? I pulled up Lydia's Instagram story and handed her my phone. Chloe watched it, her expression sliding from confusion to anger to white-hot fury in about 15 seconds. She gave the phone back wordlessly, jaw clenched. Well, Reynolds said after a long pause. Their loss is our gain. We get the good champagne. It was classic Reynolds, awkward, blunt, but somehow exactly what I needed. I laughed. A real laugh, the first one since those texts had come in. Yes, I said. Yes, you do. By 8 o'clock, the Oculus had transformed. The sun was down, Philadelphia glittered below, like someone had spilled a box of jewels into the dark. String lights looped overhead. The bar hustled out drinks called the closing argument and the settlement. Jazz played, low enough for conversation, and the air was thick with expensive cologne and ambition. I stood near the head table, now set for 9, flawless, watching the elevator. Chloe and the others had scattered, working the room, making connections like pros. In less than an hour, they'd gone from nervous juniors to confident professionals. I couldn't help but feel a rush of pride watching them. Nana Simone had shown up 35 minutes ago, right on time, in her promised St. John suit was gray wool with pearl buttons, the kind of detail that probably cost more than most people's rent. My grandmother saw the new seating chart, gave it a brisk nod, then sailed straight into charming every partner's wife in the room. She had that way about her, making folks feel special and a little bit on edge at the same time. Meanwhile, my stomach was twisted in knots. Julian Thorne still hadn't shown up. Julian Thorne. The managing partner. The man who called me into his office 8 weeks back and told me I was being considered for the youngest partnership in firm history. The man who shook my hand and said, Maya, You remind me of myself at your age. Brilliant, dedicated, and you know success doesn't mean much if you don't have people to share it with. He was old school all the way, 70, married to his college sweetheart for nearly half a century, 5 kids who all turned out great. He gave those Penn Law speeches about balanced excellence, how the best attorneys could close a deal and still make it home for dinner. I remembered the HR file I filled out when I first joined. There was that section about personal values and motivation. I'd written about family, how everything I did was for them. Now here I was, sitting at the head table, no family in sight. I couldn't help wondering what Julian Thorne would think if he saw me like this. Maya. I turned. Julian Thorne was right behind me. My stomach dropped, even though I tried to play it cool. He looked shorter outside the office, but he carried authority like it was part of his skin. Silver hair, perfectly styled. Navy suit, classic, but you could tell it cost a fortune. And those eyes. 50 years of cross-examining people, and he'd mastered the stare. Mr. Thorne. I reached out to shake his hand. He met my grip just right. Thank you so much for coming. Wouldn't miss it for the world. He glanced at the head table, expectant. I was hoping to finally meet the famous Vance family. You spoke so warmly about your parents in your interviews, and your file says family is your motivation. Where are they? The question just hung there, sharp as a blade. My mind raced. The truth felt humiliating. A lie would be obvious. Thorne didn't get where he was by being easy to fool. Dodging would look weak. I opened my mouth, not even sure what I'd say. Good evening, Mr. Thorne. Nana Simone slid in beside me, sudden as a thunderclap. Her voice had that mix of steel and silk she'd honed from years wrangling difficult parents at PTA meetings. Thorne turned, surprised. I'm Simone Vance. She offered her hand like a queen. Maya's grandmother, former principal of St. Agnes Preparatory, and the person who taught this young woman everything she knows about discipline, excellence, and integrity. Thorne took her hand, and his whole face shifted. Respect, plain and simple. A pleasure, Miss Vance. Her tone softened just a hair, but she didn't back down. Her parents, she said, matter of fact, are dealing with a family emergency that needed their immediate attention. But, Mr. Thorne, let me clarify something. She moved forward, and I realized she was placing herself between me and Thorne, shielding me in her way. Maya's parents gave her life, Nana said, quiet and steady. But I forged her mindset. I taught her that excellence isn't negotiable. That commitment means showing up even when you don't want to. That real success is built on consistency, not convenience. If you're wondering where Maya's excellence comes from, you're looking at it. Silence. It stretched out, thick and total. Then Thorne did the last thing I expected. He laughed. Not a polite, social laugh, a real, delighted one that made people turn and stare. Miss Simone, he said, and now his eyes twinkled. That's the best answer I've heard in years. And you're right. The fruit doesn't fall far from the tree, and clearly Maya learned from the best. He glanced at me. Your grandmother is a force of nature. You're lucky to have her. I know, I managed. Thorne clapped my shoulder, firm, warm, exactly what I needed, and headed off to greet the next set of guests. As soon as he was gone, my legs almost gave out. Easy, Nana whispered, grabbing my arm. Breathe. You're all right. That was some top-tier defensive work, and he believed every bit of it. I shrugged. Because it was the truth. She gave me this look, something gentle flickering across her face. Yeah, it was. My phone buzzed, and before I could stop myself, I checked it. Instagram notification. Lydia had gone live. I told myself not to watch, but my thumb had other plans. The video was a mess, shaky, dark, just chaos. But I could see everything. My sister, wasted, clutching this radioactive green drink, packed in with her friends. The music blared. She yelled into the camera, her voice slurring. Best Thursday ever. No boring lawyer talk, no uptight people, just vibes. She spun, almost toppled over, and someone grabbed her, laughing. Thanks for the credit card, sis. You're the best ATM. The comments poured in. OMG, who's your sister? Wait, did she pay for everything? ATM queen, I'm dead. I watched her toast the camera, Soaked up the neon lights, the plastic mermaids, the whole scene, none of it looked anything like the place I stood. And the ache I'd felt earlier? It vanished. All that was left was this icy, clear contempt. Maya? Chloe was suddenly at my side. Time for your speech. I shoved my phone away and straightened up. All right, let's do this. The crowd hushed as I stepped up to the tiny podium Felix had set up. I could see everyone, partners, associates, clients, my team at the front, all looking at me like they actually believed in me. At the next table, a woman caught my eye. Early 30s, definitely not one of ours, way too glamorous to be a client. She aimed her phone my way, careful not to make it obvious. Influencer, clearly. She saw a fancy rooftop, a bunch of lawyers, and thought, content. I raised my glass. Thanks so much for being here tonight, I started. Honestly, 2 hours ago, I almost canceled the whole thing. The energy in the room shifted, surprise, curiosity. I got a message about a family emergency that they had to go heal. I let that word hang. I was wrecked. I thought about calling the whole thing off. I held up my phone. But then I saw the credit card charge $4,200 at a riverfront club, 12 alcohol towers, private DJ. I saw the Instagram live stream. My sister, celebrating with my money, celebrating not being here. You could hear a pin drop. And then I looked at all of you. Some of you got here early. Some of you stayed late at work all week just to make tonight happen. All of you chose to show up. That hit me. I glanced at my team. This VIP table? It's not about blood. It's about vision. A beat of silence. Then Chloe clapped. Reynolds joined in. Then Davis, then Shaw, and suddenly the whole rooftop erupted applause, cheers, the works. I sat down, heart thundering, and caught Nana Simone's eye. She looked at me like maybe, just maybe, she was proud. The influencer was still filming. Let her. Saturday morning, I woke up to 23 missed calls and 61 texts. For a second, lying in my silent penthouse, I panicked. Something awful must have happened. Then I saw every notification came from my family. I didn't open them. I got up, made coffee, ran through my routine. Shower, skincare, that gray Armani suit, the one that makes me feel invincible. Only after I was totally ready did I sit at the kitchen island and check my phone. First thing I saw? I'd been tagged in a video. 580,000 views. My stomach dropped. The creator, Lux and Life with Lana, the influencer from last night. She'd mashed together clips of my speech, the line about bloodline versus vision, the glittering scene, my team up front, with Lydia's stream from the Gilded Mermaid. The contrast was brutal. Me, calm in black silk, talking about betrayal, city lights shining behind me. Lydia, drunk and loud, drowning in neon and plastic. The caption, class versus trash. Family abandons lawyer sister's career celebration to party on her credit card. This isn't healing. This is an insult to good taste. Class, not trash. Toxic family. She deserved better. 11,000 comments and counting. Is this family for real? Who turns down a $25,000 party to hang out at a dump? That sister, total mess. Seriously, everything about that riverfront club just screams bad taste. The lawyer's so calm and put together, and her family's just wild. I can't deal. If my sister handed me her credit card, then ditched me? Yeah, I'd never speak to her again. Imagine raising a daughter who becomes a lawyer, then blowing her off for that. Even the grandmother in the gray suit feels more like family than those people ever did. I watched the video 3 times. I have to admit, it was beautifully edited. Lana nailed the timing, caught the exact second my face changed from hurt to pure contempt during my speech. She even did a split screen, the Oculus's elegance right next to the tacky mermaid decor. The comments just kept coming, hundreds every minute. Then my phone started buzzing. Mom, of course. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again. I hit decline. Then a text, Mom. Maya, call me right now. A second later, Dad called. Ignored that too. Dad, this is serious. Your mother is very upset. We need to talk. Mom, how could you embarrass us like this? All our friends are texting. Do you know how this makes us look? I stared at that one for a while. Not, we're sorry. Not, we made a mistake. Just, how could you embarrass us? Lydia chimed in. Maya, this is so messed up. Why are you airing family business online? You know I have anxiety. People are being so mean to me in the comments. Take this down right now. I took screenshots of all 3 threads. Then I opened up a message to Chloe. Me, good morning. Can you come in an hour early today? I need help compiling some documents. Chloe, already here. Saw the video. Also, documents you're about to ask for, blue folder on your desk. God, I loved her. My phone rang again. Mom. This time, I picked up. Maya, thank God. I said, calm as ever, I didn't post that video. What? The video everyone's talking about. I didn't post it. Didn't send it to anyone. An influencer at the party recorded it and posted it. Silence. Then, well, you need to make her take it down. Why would I do that? Because it's making us look terrible. Your father's golf buddies are texting him. Lydia's getting hate messages. My book club is asking why we skipped your party. Maya, this is humiliating. I sipped my coffee. The good stuff, $1.65, pound beans from that place in Old City. Smooth, rich, perfect. Mom, I said. You texted me that Lydia was having a panic attack. That she needed a quiet meditation space. She did. She was very anxious. You charged $4,200 at a riverfront club that's literally famous for being the loudest, most obnoxious place in town. 12 alcohol towers. Private DJ. Lydia live-streamed herself yelling about escaping her stiff lawyer sister and thanking me for the credit card. Maya, you're being dramatic. Those are facts. Bank records don't lie. Videos don't lie. You spent my money on a party instead of coming to the biggest night of my career. Now you're mad that people online are calling you out for it. How dare you call us classless, Mom shrieked. After everything we've done for you? We raised you. We supported you. You supported me? When's the last time you paid for anything? That's not what parents are for, Maya. You're supposed to help family. I have helped. For 4 years. And last Thursday, you used that help to fund a party celebrating not having to see me. I paused. I think we need a family meeting to sort this out. A what? Come to my apartment next Saturday, 7 p.m. You, Dad, Lydia. I have something I want to give you. A late gift I couldn't present at the party. The word gift changed everything. I heard it in the pause, the way Mom's voice softened from rage to cautious interest. A gift? Yeah, something I've been working on for a while. It's important we talk in person. Another pause. What kind of gift? You'll see on Saturday. Unless you have another emergency. That stung. We'll be there, Mom said, all stiff. 7 p.m. perfect. See you then. I hung up before she could say anything else. Then I texted Chloe again. Me, can you also print out copies of the lease guarantee for Lydia's apartment and all the credit card statements? I need everything ready by next Saturday afternoon. Chloe, already in the blue folder. Also included, documentation of every wire transfer, every emergency payment, and a transaction-by-transaction breakdown of the $4,200 Gilded Mermaid charge. The DJ alone cost $300. Who actually spends $300 on a riverfront club DJ? Yeah, that'd be me, people with questionable taste, and someone else's credit card. Chloe too. Fair enough. By the way, I ordered you a paper shredder. It's getting delivered to your place Friday. Industrial grade. Figured you'd need it. I just stared at that last message. Chloe had worked for me long enough. She knew exactly what kind of meeting I was planning. Me, you're getting a raise. Chloe, I'm getting a promotion once you make managing partner, but I'll take the raise for now. I couldn't help but smile, even with everything going on. I grabbed my bag and headed out. The rest of the week slipped by in this weird, calm haze. That video kept spreading. By Wednesday, it had racked up 3.1 million views. My parents called 23 more times. Lydia's texts got more and more desperate, begging me to do something about the comments. I ignored them all. I just worked. I closed the Carson deal. Pored over the blue folder Chloe put together. Checked every transaction, every date. Left notes in the margins. Basically, I prepped like I was going to trial, because honestly, that's what it felt like. Friday evening, a delivery guy showed up at my building with this massive box. The shredder. I set it up in the dining room, right by the table where my family would be sitting. Then I spent the whole night going through everything one last time. The retirement savings plan I'd set up for my parents. Photos of their dream cruises. Brochures for river tours through Europe. An investment plan that would cover 3 trips a year for the next 25 years. For Lydia, a fashion design scholarship, full ride, all expenses paid, housing included, acceptance letter from Palamoda Institute in Florence. I'd spent 8 months putting this together. Calls, favors, strings pulled. They'd never know about any of it now. Saturday came, cold and bright. I spent the morning getting my apartment ready. No food on the table. This wasn't meant to be cozy. Just the blue folder at the head of the table, 2 thick envelopes beside it, and the shredder plugged in, ready to go. I called Nana Simone. "I need you here," I told her. "As a witness." "Wouldn't miss it for the world," she said. "What time?" 6:30, before they get here. "I'll bring the good wine. You're going to need it after." She showed up exactly on time, took one look at my setup, and nodded like she'd trained me for this. "You've learned well. Had a good teacher." We sat in silence in the living room. She read some dense post-war economics book. I pretended to check emails but really just watched the clock. At 7:05, my intercom buzzed. "Miss Vance? Your parents and sister are here. Send them up." I went to the door and opened it before they could even knock. Mom swept in first, looking totally out of place in my apartment, dressed up in that Talbot suit she always wore to church. She thought it made her look sophisticated. It really just looked like she was trying too hard. Dad followed, clearly uncomfortable in slacks and a button-down. Lydia came last, sullen, glued to her phone. "Maya, sweetie, this place is so cold," Mom said, eyeing my minimalist living room with obvious disapproval. "You need more color. Some throw pillows. It looks like a hotel." "Hello to you too, Mom." I shut the door behind them. "Please, come to the dining room." They walked in and stopped when they saw Nana Simone in the armchair at the head of the table, glass of wine in hand, looking like a judge about to announce a verdict. "Mother," Mom said, instantly defensive. "I didn't know you'd be here." "Deborah," Nana replied, cool as ice. "Sit down. All of you." Something in her voice made even Dad obey without a word. They sat, eyes locked on the blue folder and those 2 envelopes. "What's this about?" Lydia asked, still scrolling away. "I have plans later. Can we make this quick?" I stayed standing. "Put the phone away, Lydia." "Excuse me?" "Your sister said put the phone away," Nana said, voice low. "Or you can leave now." Lydia glanced at our parents for backup, but Mom was too busy eyeing the envelopes. Lydia huffed and finally placed her phone face down on the table. "Thank you," I said. "Now, I asked you here because we need to talk about what happened last Thursday." Mom jumped in, all ready with her speech. "Maya, we've been so stressed about this viral video. You have to understand how humiliating it's been for us. Your father's colleagues, my friends. Everyone keeps asking questions like somehow we're the villains here. But we're the ones who got burned. That woman never should have posted anything." "Deborah," Nana cut her off, told her to shut it. Mom's jaw just dropped. She couldn't believe it. "You skipped your own daughter's big partnership party, a $25,000 event, just to sip cheap cocktails at a riverfront club that reeks of sunscreen and regret. And you know what? I'm not ashamed of you because you're cruel. I'm ashamed because you're foolish." "Mother, how could you?" you ask. I'll tell you how, because it's true. You had a daughter who accomplished something real, something worth celebrating. And instead of being there for her, you took her money and used it to toast the fact you didn't have to see her. There's no confusion here. There's no way to spin it. It's just sad." Nobody spoke. The room went so quiet I could hear the hum of the fridge. I picked up 2 envelopes from the table. "Before we say anything else, I want to show you something." Lydia's eyes practically sparkled when she saw them. Thick, expensive paper always gets her attention. She knew exactly what they might be. "Are those for us?" she asked. "Yep." I held them up. "In this first envelope," I said, "there's an all-inclusive retirement plan for you, Mom and Dad. Enough to travel internationally 3 times a year for the next 25 years. European river cruises, South Pacific tours, every bucket list trip you two ever mentioned. Mom's hand even twitched toward it. And this one, I went on, holding up the second, is a full-ride scholarship for Lydia. Tuition, housing, stipend. Palamota Institute in Florence, one of the top fashion programs anywhere. Lydia's breath caught. Are you serious? Maya, oh my God, wait. I drew both envelopes back before anyone could touch them. There's something you all need to understand. I set them down right in front of the shredder. I put these together 5 months ago. Before that, I spent 8 months making calls, calling in favors, doing everything I could. My plan was to give them to you at the party in front of everyone. So you could see just what your daughter, your sister, managed to pull off. So you could see I'd made it, and I wanted to give you your dreams. My voice went flat. I wasn't even angry anymore. Just empty. But you picked the Gilded Mermaid. You picked a $4,200 night at some trashy riverfront club over a once-in-a-lifetime celebration. You waited until the card charge went through before you bothered to text me, so I couldn't even stop it. You took my money and threw a party to celebrate not being there. Dad tried to jump in. Maya, we explained no. You didn't explain anything. You lied. Lydia wasn't home having a panic attack. She was drunk out of her mind, live-streaming herself thanking me for the credit card, calling me her personal ATM, celebrating how nice it was to get away from this stiff lawyer sister. I looked right at Lydia. And you tagged me in that video. You wanted me to see. I was just messing around, I didn't. Yes, you did. You knew exactly what you were doing. I picked up the first envelope, the retirement one. This was 35 years of travel. First-class flights, 5-star hotels, every dream you ever mentioned. Mom just stared, like it was some kind of sacred relic. Maya, honey, but you chose a $4,200 party over a lifetime of memories. I ripped open the envelope and pulled out the thick, glossy booklet. Cruise itineraries, bank certificates, all of it. Dad half stood up. Maya, wait, I fed the whole thing right into the shredder. The machine roared and ground away, and I watched their faces as 35 years of plans turned to confetti. Mom made this awful sound, like I'd hit her. What are you doing? Lydia shrieked. I picked up envelope 2. Lydia's golden ticket. Florence, her dream, her future. This, I said, sliding out the acceptance letter and the scholarship confirmation, is 3 years in Florence. A real degree. Not another hobby, not another Instagram account with 57 followers. A chance to be something. Lydia started crying. Maya, please, I'm sorry, I didn't mean yes you did. You meant every word. You celebrated using me, called me an ATM. So here's what happens now. I slid the letter into the shredder. Lydia screamed. I mean, actually screamed, like I'd stabbed her. Mom just stared at the machine, not even blinking. Dad looked like he might faint. The shredder hummed to a stop. Both envelopes, both dreams, just strips of paper now. That's it? Mom whispered. You're just destroying our futures over one mistake? One mistake? I turned to her. Mom, do you know how much money I've given you in the last 4 years? She blinked, stammered. I don't know, we never asked. I pulled out the blue folder. $410,000. Her eyes went wide. That's impossible. It's not, I said, flipping open the first document. It's right here. Rent for Lydia, credit cards, those emergency wires, a car that somehow ate $7,000 in repairs, medical bills insurance should have covered, investment schemes that went nowhere. I held up the lease. Lydia's lease. I'm the guarantor, the one who's on the hook when she can't pay, which is every month, because she doesn't work. I'm building my brand, Lydia started. You have 57 clients, I said. I looked at your account. You made $2,800 last year. I paid $66,000 in rent for you. I dropped the lease and grabbed the next document. Credit card statement. For years, $58,000 charged. Mom, you said this card was for emergencies only. They were emergencies, Mom said. Her voice got small. You don't understand, a $950 Nordstrom handbag was an emergency? Silence. The $1,500 spa weekend in the Catskills? More silence. The $4,200 party at the Gilded Mermaid? Mom flushed deep red. You always had more than us, she said. You could afford it. Because I worked for it. My control slipped. I worked 90-hour weeks. I gave up every weekend. I built everything from nothing, while you spent my money and resented me for having it. We never resented you, Dad mumbled, but he sounded tired, almost embarrassed. Then why weren't you there? I didn't mean to say it so raw. Why wasn't my success worth 2 hours of your time? No one answered. I slid over the next set of papers. This is the notice. All supplementary credit cards canceled, effective immediately. The Gilded Mermaid charge is the last one I'll ever pay. Think of it as severance. Then the last document. And this is notice I'm withdrawing as guarantor on Lydia's lease. You have 60 days to find someone else or move out. You can't do this. Lydia's voice cracked, rising into panic. Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem anymore. Maya, please. Mom actually sounded scared. We're family. You can't abandon us. I looked at her. Really looked. The woman who gave birth to me but never saw me. Took my money, never my advice. Always picked a riverfront club over her daughter's big moments. You left me first, I said, quiet. Last Thursday, you made it clear what matters to you. It's not me. Not my happiness, not my success. It's my bank account. I'm done being an ATM. I nodded toward the door. Please leave. Maya, Dad tried again. Leave. Now. Nana Simone stood up. She didn't say a word, but the room shifted. She'd had enough. The argument was over. Mom grabbed her purse with shaking hands. Lydia sobbed, mascara streaking her cheeks. Dad looked like he might say something, but nothing came out. They left in silence. At the door, Mom turned back one last time. You'll regret this, she said. Family is forever. No, I said. Family is who shows up. You didn't. I shut the door and locked it. The apartment felt huge and silent. Only the distant city traffic and Lydia's muffled crying out in the hall. Nana Simone crossed the room and wrapped me in a hug. Only then did I realize I was shaking. She held me steady. You did the right thing, she whispered. I'm so proud of you. I nodded against her. Didn't trust myself to speak. After a moment, she pulled back. Now, she said. I'm pouring you a giant glass of wine. We'll sit in your cold, minimalist apartment, and you'll tell me how it feels to be free. 1 month later, I woke up to real quiet. Not the kind that feels like punishment, but the kind that comes with real space, all mine. No frantic texts for money. No guilt trips about family or abandonment. Just the city humming out the window and the smell of coffee. I checked my phone. No bank alerts. No overdraft warnings from Lydia. For the first time in years, my balance was actually growing. I wasn't carrying 3 adults anymore. I was building my own future. A new notification, Nana Simone, subject line, you have to see this. A link to a local newsletter. Headline, local family seeks community support after daughter's cruel abandonment. I clicked. Honestly, it was pathetic. Mom gave an interview, said I cut them off over a minor scheduling conflict. Lydia claimed I cared more about money than blood. At the bottom, a GoFundMe link, help replace stolen gifts. They wanted $75,000. So far, $422. I scrolled through the comments. Seriously? They skipped my promotion gala for a riverfront club? I watched the TikTok. I'm Team Maya, no question. Imagine messing things up that badly, then turning around and asking strangers for money. The nerve. I closed my laptop, feeling a dark, satisfied grin spread across my face. They tried to drag me in public, and the crowd dragged them right back. They weren't my problem anymore. Now they were just a warning for the rest of the internet. My whole afternoon was meetings, one after another, and it wrapped up with an intern interview. Sarah Brooks, 23, sharp, University of Pennsylvania Law. She reminded me of myself, hungry, determined, just missing the right connections. When we finished, I didn't just offer her the job. I got up, grabbed my first edition contract law book off the shelf, my lucky charm, and handed it to her. Take this, I said. Someone once taught me that you invest in people who see the future the way you do, not just people you're related to. You've got the vision, Sarah. Make it count. She stared at the book like I'd given her a bar of gold. I won't let you down, Miss Vance. I smiled. I know you won't. I left the office right at 5:30. Outside, the air was crisp, full of roasted chestnuts and possibility. I walked to the Italian place where Nana Simone was already waiting. She'd opened the good red wine. When I came in, she looked at me, not searching for stress, but for peace. You look different, she said as I sat down. I feel different, I told her, taking the glass she handed me. Lighter. That's what happens when you drop all the dead weight of other people's expectations. She tapped her glass against mine. To Maya Vance, who finally stopped trying to buy love and started building something real. To family, I said quietly. The real kind. We drank, and the wine tasted like winning. Through the window, Philadelphia glowed, a million stories unraveling in the dark. Somewhere out there, my parents and Lydia were living with what they'd done. And here I was, across from the one person who never asked me for a thing, finally living with my own choices. The check came, but Nana grabbed it before I could. My treat, she insisted. You've paid enough. We walked out into the cool night, arm in arm. I didn't look back. The future was wide open, and this time, it was mine.